All right, class. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to and walk you through creating your animation. So the first thing you're going to do right now, I'm in Photoshop, and right now I have my workspace open. You can see that I have multiple files open. In fact, right now I have one that looks like a cougar. They're working in my digital art class. But I also have my layer bar open. I've got my toolbar open. And now I want to open up a new file um, with my animation, right? So the first thing you're going to do is go to File. After you go to File, you're going to go to Scripts. Once you go to Scripts, you're going to go to Load Files into Stack. So once you load your files into your stack, it's going to open up a Load Layers tab. What you're going to do is browse and search for your files. You should have at least 36. In my demonstration, I'm only going to show 6 of my pictures. But what I'm going to do is select the first one, hold the shift key down, select the last one, and then hit open. And all of my files will open up in the Load Layers tab. Then I'm going to hit OK. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a file with all of my layers in it, right? So this will be my final stop motion. What I'm going to also do right now is do File, Save As. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to name it Final Stop Motion. You can see I already have it saved here as Final Stop Motion. I'm going to hit Save. I'm replacing mine. Yours is not going to have that there, but because I already am saving it again, and you're going to hit OK. And now I have this image called Final Stop Motion, and it's a PSD file. So when you go to save your files, you want to make sure that they're always saved as a PSD file. So it's formatted as a Photoshop file. So this way, as you work and you change things, you can always do Command or Control S to continue to save your file. The next step would be to, I didn't mention this in class earlier, but I'm going to mention it in class today. I would change the size of your file. So I would open up your rulers by doing Command or Control R. So when my rulers are open, you can see that they're located at the top of the screen and the side of the screen. When you do Command or Control R, it gets rid of your rulers, but it also brings them back again. So you can at least see the size of your file. So my file size is huge. It's like 40 inches by 55 inches. I should probably make this smaller because saving this file to my computer is going to take up a lot of space. So I would go to Image, Image Size. You click on Image Size, the Image Size tab will pop up. And it will show you the exact size of your file. So my file is 42 inches by 56 inches. Depending on your file size, if it's really large like mine, I would just change it, like maybe cut it in half. So when I change one side, it's going to keep it in proportion and change the height. So if I were to change the width to, let's say, 20, you can see that it automatically changes the height so that everything stays in proportion. So I'm just going to cut it in half so that it's not as big of a file. So I would definitely kind of take a look at that depending on your image size, your file size. So again, when you pull up your image in Photoshop, I would go to Image, Image Size, and just check it out. Don't touch the resolution. Leave the resolution at whatever it's at. But if your file is really big like mine, I would just try to cut it in half and make it a little bit smaller. This is still a really big file. This is 20 inches by 26 inches. So it's not like the clarity of it is changing. All right, so the next step would be to then make sure that all of your layers are in order. So turning your eyeballs off, starting at the bottom. Now mine goes backwards right now, but that's okay. But I just want to make sure that as I see it, everything is in order. So I can actually do it this way too. Make sure it makes sense. If something is not in order, let's say one of my layers was not in order, I can always take the layer and drag it and move it to the correct spot. So you can click and drag and move, right? But mine are all in order. After you double check the order of your layers and your frames, you want to now open up your timeline. So you can find your timeline under Window. When you go to Window, you're going to select Timeline. And this will open up a animation timeline for you in Photoshop. You have two options. You have Create Video Timeline and Create Frame Animation. We're creating a frame animation. You're creating a stop motion. That is frame by frame. So you want to make sure that you're selecting Create Frame Animation. Then you want to actually click on the tab Create Frame Animation. And it's going to open up your first picture in the timeline. Right? So how do you add all of the rest of the additional pictures that you have? On the other side of the timeline, there's these little tabs here. Okay, if you click on it, it gives you some options. You're going to make frames from your layers. So I'm going to click on Make Frames from Layers, and that will add in all of my additional frames or layers on my layer bar. When I hit play, you can see that it plays it. It plays it in order. Now, yours may not be backwards. Mine is. So what I'm going to do is reverse my frames. So the easiest way to do this is once you have all your frames in your timeline, you're going to go back to this little tab and you're going to go to Reverse Frames. And what that will do is it's going to reverse and flip your frames. So now when I play it, it goes in the right order, right? I can then start getting into customizing my my animation. If I wanted to play it forever, like I wanted to repeat this, I could. If I wanted it to play once, I could. I could also change the seconds. So if I wanted it to go a little bit slower, maybe I would change all of them to 0.1 second. So it slows down my animation. Maybe I want it to pause or there to be a slight delay at frame 3. So when I play it, you can see it pauses. So you can control the movement that way, right? And that's how you create an animation. I'm going to create another video for any advanced users on maybe adding shapes and text in certain layers if you wanted to add something like that to your image. All right. Otherwise, this would be exactly what I'm looking for from you. All right. So then what you would do is Command S, right, to save it. So I'm saving my file. And then this is what you would hand in to me. But we could discuss going over handing in with me at a later date.